All right. Hello. Good morning. It's Tuesday, right? And here we are. Got to get myself all adjusted here. All right. How is everybody doing? Oh, I'm going to wait as always. You hear me say the same thing. Give everybody a few minutes to get on. I think I actually looks like I'm right on time today. So who's going to check in and say good morning? Oh, there's Miss Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Good morning. And I can't see. I see somebody else checked in, but I can't see the picture very well. Lisa, good morning. Cheryl, hi. Nice to see you. Okay. So some of you. So I think when I wave at you, it then puts on that you're here with me. I've kind of noticed that. So there we go. I'm going to go a little wave here. Cassie, good morning. Oh, thanks, Kathy. Yeah, me too. I'm excited about being here. We had a great night last night at the Watercress Clubhouse. So the second Monday night of every month, I am here in Kansas City and hold some type of an event. And the one last night was called a Learn and Earn. And we had 3 experts. And Kathy Weaver spoke about personality coding. So when you're talking to people, particularly in your business, but I think it's just as important in your families and all of the other relationships that we have, that when you learn the personality codes, you can communicate better. So if you're in business and you're trying to make sales, if you can communicate to people better so they understand, your success in your sales is going to be better. But then also in your families, when you're communicating better, you know which things trigger the certain ones. Because wouldn't y'all agree, those of you who have kids, that each of your children is different, and how they respond is different as well. Okay, my mouth is not cooperating with my brain this morning. All right, so I do have my tea right here. And then also was Dr. Georgia Knabb was with us. And it is so fascinating that how your DNA is not just about ancestry, it's about how your DNA, that, is what sets us all apart. That's what makes us each unique. Your DNA can tell you lots of things. It can unlock the secrets to your health, to maybe illnesses. It can, finding out what's in your blood. It makes just a lot of difference in how you can just be more healthy overall. So it's really very fascinating. And then Krista Skirmont, she did Unlocking the Secrets to Technology and gave us some great tips on just easy things that we can do to protect our identity, to protect our online presence, and just a variety of things that she covered. So thank you to those ladies who shared with us last night. And then today we have lunch at Coach's in Overland Park. Tomorrow at Pega's in Lenexa, Thursday at Conrad's in Liberty, and then Friday morning, the Egg and I in Lee Summit. So if you are here in Kansas City, pass the word around, go to Facebook or meetup.com, and you can look up all the activities. It'd be great. All right, let's see here. So who else can I say good morning to? So Joan, good morning, and Laura. Let's see, I think I missed a few others. Let's see. Back here. Oh, Lisa, good morning. Okay, so I'm going to wave to, I don't know why, y'all, that it only asks me certain people if I want to wave. So I'm waving to those that it asks me, and if I don't wave at you, it's not because I don't want to, it's just not asking me if I want to wave at you, so it's kind of crazy. So I guess I have 2 little things to talk about today. One of them is, my granddaughter, when I was able to pick up my 2 granddaughters, Alicia's daughters, from school yesterday. And as I got them home, the younger one, she said, Grandma, how come people have to bully? Why do people bully? Well, what a question, right? It's like, really kind of took me back a minute. And I said, well, honey, there's just those who feel like they just want to control others. And what I said to her was, oftentimes the people who bully, the reason they do is because they feel so insecure in themselves, and they feel like they can't control the things in their own surroundings. So they bully people that they feel they can get away with it. It makes them feel powerful, and helps them feel better about themselves by being mean to others. And that goes on whether she is in, and I think it's 6th grade, so she's just starting into that. And I don't know, if y'all have had children who have been bullied, I don't really know what to do about that. I don't know what to do with that. I know oftentimes it can make it worse if parents or adults get involved. I certainly will talk to Alicia about it, because I haven't had a chance to talk to her about it. So Alicia, if you come on this morning. So if any of y'all, this is me just kind of seeking some advice. This is a territory that's kind of new for me. So if you've had that happen and you have any ideas, and you can even private message me or whatever about how to handle that. Or maybe, I know I can't handle the bullying, but maybe helping her feel better about herself. But don't y'all find that even as adults, there is bullying that goes on? There's always going to be those people who try to make you feel worse about yourself, because that's what makes them feel better. And I think that's the whole thing. And we may not call that bullying in the adult situation, but in essence, it really is. They're trying to exert control over you. They're trying to make you feel bad about yourself because it makes them feel better, which is like so crazy, right? But I think it goes on. It starts with kids in school. Sometimes there's, no real reasons for it. It's just those who bully find the ones who are the most vulnerable. Sometimes the sweetest, kindest people are the ones they want to pick on, because they feel like those are the only ones that they can't. They can't really bully or push around the people that they want to, the ones who are pushing them around. And unfortunately, I know that often it's the case that the kids are being oftentimes mistreated at home. And so to bully at school is a way that they can feel like they have some power in their life. So anyway, that's my first little subject this morning. And so I am reaching out if anybody has any advice or thoughts that you want to share on that. It's a big deal in our school these days. And it probably always has been. It's just becoming more noticeable and more talked about. And of course, I think oftentimes the more we talk about things, the more we bring it to the focus, then that's when we actually can begin to understand it and begin to learn how to handle some of those things. So anyway, the next subject is, what's it going to take to convince you? Yeah, about what, right? Well, I'm going to go back to the confidence mirror for a little bit today. And if you recall back over the last few months, we've talked about the confidence mirror. And there's 7 areas where we evaluate how you feel about your confidence. And you can go to my website, Delinda Lane, and it's Layne, DelindaLane.com. And actually on the home page, I think if I recall, I should go back and check it today. You can click on a thing on the confidence mirror, and it'll take you where you can go and take this confidence test. And it's free, no big deal, but it just helps you look at yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and what areas do you feel most confident, and maybe areas that you don't, where you're not so much, right? So the areas are this: how do you feel about your overall self? How do you just in general feel about yourself? Then there's, what do you feel about your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10, about your body, about your health, your wellness, health and wellness, fitness, that type of thing. Where do you rate yourself in business? Where do you rate yourself in finance? How about relationships? Where do you put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you really good at making and keeping good, strong relationships? How are you at communication? And then the last one is spiritually. Where do you find yourself? So when I ask the question today of what's it going to take to convince you, I want you to think a little bit of the areas where you don't feel so confident. And the reason is because I think that's where we do the most damage to ourselves. When we don't feel confident in a certain area, that's where the negative self-talk goes to. It's like, oh man, I'm just no good at this, or I'm just so dumb, or I'm never going to get this. Whatever those negative things that you say to yourself, So when you can identify those areas, then once you realize that, then you can begin to say, okay, so what's it going to take? So let's just say that maybe your area where you don't feel confident. Well, I'm going to tell you a story first. And my mother's not on Facebook, so I don't have to worry about her listening to this or seeing this. But my mother is 8. How old is she? As a matter of fact, I'm just thinking, like, I was going to say 83, but she's so not 83. She is like 88, I think it is. Like, I just keep thinking of her younger, because I don't think that much about age overall. So anyway, so she is 88, and she has more common sense than probably anybody I know. She's been through a lot in her life. She's just had a lot of experience. She's done a lot of things. She was raised in the South. She was, which is why I have so much of the Southern background as well. Actually, both my parents came from the South. So my mother has great common sense. However, she doesn't feel very confident about herself when it comes to things regarding what she would call intelligence. And things that she'll say out loud are like, she'll say like, I'm not stupid, don't treat me that way. And, you know, every time I hear her say something like that, it's like, Mother, my goodness, you're one of the smartest people I know. Why would you think that I thought that? Or why would you say that? And what I've learned over the years is because she did finish high school, but she didn't go on to college. And if you think about it, 80 some odd, sorry, got hair in my eye today. Many in that era, very few women went to college. And the basic idea, especially in the South, was your whole point of going to school was then to get out, find a job, and find a husband. I mean, that really was it. Whether we like to admit it, whether we think it's right or wrong, that is how it was. And even in college, and I remember in the dorm, there were several of the girls who, that is all they talked about, that they were there to find a husband. Now, I was not there to find a husband. I don't know what I was. I was just there because I wanted to be there, and I was in music. I was a music major, and it's like I was just there to learn all I could and to go sing for the rest of my life. That's what I was there for. But I did have several friends there in the dorm, and that was their point. So back to my mother. So she has always felt insecure about her intelligence, as far as not common sense, because she knows she's got that down pat. She's the best. If you ever need to sit with someone and just get some common sense advice, my mother's the one to go to. But she never felt very confident in her intelligence or understanding certain things. So do y'all know where I'm coming from? Y'all kind of understand what I'm talking about? So what is your area? Because I don't think anyone out there is over 80. Okay, so whether you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, I mean even 80s, my mother could still do some things on that, but she doesn't want to, so it's not that important to her anymore. But what is important to you? What is it that you always feel bad about yourself and that you beat up on yourself about? So maybe yours is similar to my mother's, and maybe you always just thought, oh, if I had just gone to college, if I had just gotten a degree, I would just feel better. You'd feel like you could handle yourself in some of those social situations better. Maybe then you would feel like when you sat down at a dinner and people were talking about business strategies or business things, you would feel more confident. And the reason you don't is because you didn't have a degree, or because you didn't take those extra classes, or whatever that is. I mean, it's different for everybody. So when you can identify what is your, what are what is the lowest area, and let's just take the 7 items on the confidence mirror. When you look in that mirror at yourself in regard to your intelligence, your overall idea of yourself, where do you place yourself? Or maybe it's in finance, or maybe it's in business where you just don't feel like you're quite all that you want to be. Maybe you're giving yourself a low number. So whatever it is, I want you to look at it, because here's the thing. What's it going to take to convince you that you are smart? What's it going to take to convince you that you do know about finance, or that you do know about business? Or maybe what's it going to take to help you feel better spiritually, that you do know what God wants for your life, that you do understand more of what the scriptures talk about. I think the whole thing is that you just, we push these things aside sometimes, and yet sometimes those are the things that are the most important to you, right? Okay, let me see who's saying things on here. So Elaine said, where did I go to college? I went to a little Baptist school, y'all. Louisiana College down in Pineville, Louisiana is where I went to school. And good morning, Carrie. And let me see here. I'm going to go down a little bit. And Vicki. And let me see. I'm trying to get here. Yes. All right. Good morning, Carolyn and Leslie and Cheryl. Yay. And Alicia, good morning. All right. I think, oh, Robin, I missed you. I didn't see you earlier. Elaine, I just said hi to you. Deanne, oh my gosh, up there in Nebraska. Good morning. I was just working on some stuff for you today, as a matter of fact. Sandra, good morning. Michelle Cruz. And I can't say the name of the person that's right under Melena. Hi, good morning. Oh, y'all, we have a lot of new people today. Okay, so now I want you guys to tell me where you are. Marie Tomeo, good morning. I'm so glad to see you. You're a Las Vegas gal. So y'all get a tag on there, well not tag, whatever it is, just go on and tell me where you are. Where do you live? Where are you? So we can see how we're covered across the country. All right, so let's go back now. So I'm going to go back to my train of thought. Marina, good morning. All right. Another Vegas girl checking in. Y'all know it's only like 7:30 in Vegas. So those of y'all that are out there, since I'm in Kansas City, I got a reprieve this morning. It's 9:30. Wow. All right, so yeah, Michelle's in Gardner. So back to the confidence mirror. So when you find out where you feel, where you have lack of confidence, what is it going to take? So I'm going to give you some ideas to start thinking about that, because when you figure out, here's the area that I just feel unworthy. I mean, y'all, come on. I know that some of y'all do. There's certain areas you feel unworthy, you don't feel smart enough, you feel like you're lacking. And I do not like us to dwell on that. Y'all know that. I really like, let's think about where you're great and really keep accentuating those areas where you're already great, because then it just increases everything, makes you happier, have more joy. But I also think that sometimes when we address the areas where we don't feel as confident and start beginning to make those changes, what happens is this, like, oh my gosh, I really am smart. And you know, I think I'm gonna use my sister, and she again won't be on here, but I'll tell her I talked about it, so don't worry. For many years, she did not feel like she was smart. I mean, she just didn't. And she was a middle child, and I think a lot of some of those insecurity things happen with middle children. I was the oldest. Y'all could probably figure that out, right? I was the oldest, and she just never felt confident. Well, as time went on, she worked for a couple of big companies. She worked for Federal Express when they were first getting started. My dad worked for Federal Express. She managed a station. She went on to work for Air Cal, and she began to realize, well, you know what? I really am smart. I really can figure this stuff out. She just never had really had the opportunity to find that out. And so it was so nice to see her evolve and to come and just realize that she really is a smart woman. She is a great, smart businesswoman. But it took years for her to figure that out, because she never really had put herself in a situation, never really had that opportunity to realize how smart she was, and that she really could understand a lot of business skills and how to do certain things. So sometimes it's just a matter you haven't had the opportunity, or taken the opportunity, or made the opportunity to figure that out, right? Because you know I talk about choices all the time. It is your choice, whatever the decision that you're making. You are right now today exactly where you are by the choices that you've made. And some of y'all are going to get ruffled feathers if you haven't heard me say this before, because you're thinking, I didn't choose to get divorced. I didn't choose to have cancer. I didn't choose to have all this terrible things that have happened to you. No, of course not. No one's going to choose to have cancer. No one's going to choose to have to face some of those hard things. But it's what you do with it. You know, are you going to be a victim your whole life? Are you going to finish the rest of your life thinking about all the bad stuff that happened to you? Or are you going to make different choices? So if you're looking at your life, where we're talking about today, as far as in confidence levels, what is it that you're going to do to change that inside you? So I'm going to go to an easy one because this is just one that's so easy to take care of. I mean, well, let me just say it's simple. Okay, the path is simple, but you still have to do the work. No matter what it is, y'all, it's always going to be work. Anything that you want to do, any way that you want to change, is going to take some work, and that's okay, right? Because the work is what helps you grow. It's what helps you begin to expand your horizons and step out of your comfort zone. So, hey, Kathy, good morning. You're on here too. Oh my gosh, I love that. So let's look at, let's say that you just don't feel very confident in maybe about being smart. And I think the reason I go on that one in particular, y'all, is because I hear it a lot. I hear a lot of women say, well, I'm just not very smart, or I just don't, I just don't get it. And those of you who know, there are areas where I love to grow and I love to learn, but because of my personality style, I don't want every detail to everything. That's just part of when Kathy taught on the personality coding last night. That's just it. But I know that if I want to learn something, if I want to know and get more details, I can learn it. There's just certain things I choose to spend my time doing and certain not, right? For years, I did my own website, and I chose to learn how to do that because at that point in my life, I didn't want to pay somebody else to do it, and I wanted to figure it out. I wanted to see, well, can I figure out how to do that? Right now, I'm doing my own Infusionsoft. Is that really what I want to do? Let me tell you, no. If any of you are great at Infusionsoft and you'd like to hire out for a few hours a month to help me on my Infusionsoft, contact me with a private message because I am so ready now to get rid of it. But I do know how to do it. So what are the things, what would it take for you to feel good about yourself? So let's go back to maybe you don't feel smart. Okay, maybe you just feel like if you never went to college and didn't get your degree and it bothers you. Now, I'm not saying everybody should go and do it. I am so not saying that because I think for a lot of people, they don't need it, they don't want it, and they are so great in other areas that why bother, right? But if that's an area that bothers you, that's the point. It's really all about you. What is it that you want? So if that is an area where if you just had, even if you had your associate degree, you would feel so much better about yourself. So, okay, what's it going to take? All right, look at it. Start making yourself a list. I am great about lists. Y'all know I keep my spiral notebook right by me all the time. See my little spiral? This way I don't forget. So like Marina, every time you tell me to make sure I go do something on the house, I write it down so I don't forget. So you take your spiral, and what would it take? All right, so the first step might be, well, first of all, you don't even need to know what degree you would want. If you're looking to get started and you think, okay, I'm going to get my associate's degree just because that would make me feel so much better and I would be proud of myself. And sometimes we just want to do something that makes us feel really proud of ourselves, right? You deserve that, and you need to have a little party and celebrate and congratulate yourself. So first thing you can do is pick up the telephone and call the junior college and say, hi, can you tell me what does it take to get registered? How do I take a class? Is there a minimum of how many classes you have to take? And they're going to give it to you, and they'll probably say, well, what's your email? I'll send you the information, right? Kind of how things work these days. But if you have somebody who will actually answer you on the phone and say, well, you have to take at least, you can take 1 class a semester or you can take 5 classes a semester. You get 3 hours credit for every class you take. To get an associate degree takes X number of hours. And I don't know that because I've never looked that up. So they're going to give you some information and send you some place to start beginning to search it out. The other thing is, you're out driving around town, just stop and get off. And those of y'all in Kansas City, right here on the southern end of town, have Johnson County Community College, which is a fabulous school. Oh my gosh. They are so highly rated and everything. So just walk in and go in there and talk to somebody and ask them. Because the moment you begin to take action on that thing that means so much to you, you'll begin to feel your life change. Maybe you always wanted, maybe you don't feel so good. I'm going to use one. It doesn't bother me, so I'm not going to do it. But for some of you, it might bother you. Maybe you really always wanted to be a great cook. Maybe you just wanted to, maybe you wanted to be a gourmet cook. Maybe you just wanted to feel better in the kitchen and have a better understanding of how to do recipes and stuff. Well, there's lots of ways you can do that. There's places that offer cooking classes. Even at Johnson County Community College, a lot of schools have culinary classes and things that you can take to just learn about that. Maybe then you would feel better as a hostess in your home. Maybe that's what you would make you feel more confident. Okay, are y'all follow me where I'm going here on this thing? Okay, Elaine, let me go back here and see what you're saying. Huge midlife change, becoming an entrepreneur after being an RM for 29 years. Oh my gosh, good for you. Thank you for your service as a nurse. I could so not do that. I need more confidence when at networking events or even talking with other business owners. Yay you for admitting that and saying that out loud. And you know, Elaine, I think that if you will stay plugged into us, to the Fun Fearless Female group, you are going to get so many good tips and good advice. We have some experts in that field, and certainly I'm always available to help you as well. Join if you're not on our Fun Fearless Female. We have a page and a group, Fun Fearless Female with Delinda, which is I don't know which one it is, because I just, for some reason, cannot keep track of why a page is different than a group. I think that's the page. And the group is Fun Fearless Female National Christian Networking Group. But in that group, we have close to 600 members. And you can even ask somebody, say, you know, hey guys, what's your best tip on networking? Kathy Weaver, who's on this class, is an expert. She can give us some great, we have Jill Branson, that is her business. But you really can get some great learning and tips from these ladies. So thank you for sharing that, because you know what? The best way to get more confident is to just do it. And then I'll say to y'all, in every one of these areas, just get out there and do the thing that scares you. Get out and do the thing that you're least confident. Many of you have issues with public speaking, just the standing up at a networking event or your Sunday school class or whatever, and sharing information. They say, oh, so hey, what do you do? Or, you know, those kind of questions. And you like immediately like, you know, you don't know what to say. You don't know what to do. Particularly at networking events, you do need to know what you're going to say. And that's where the 1 minute comes in. I will say that I do a class on public speaking to help you build your confidence. It's called Speak Easy. If you're interested in that, just send me a message. But there's also just lots of tips you can get. And that's where, y'all, sometimes it just takes, you've got to do a little work, do a little searching, go on Google. There's so much out there. There's more information than we can ever use. There's just so much out there. But for me, my learning style, I know that there's only so much learning that I enjoy by just reading. I am a very visual, and like, for instance, on the computer, when I was learning Excel, okay, I felt like, okay, here's an area I felt like such a dummy. Everybody was using Excel, but I didn't have any ideas. Like, what do I do with this thing? I didn't even know how to add the columns, just to tell you, okay? So my husband, he was really good. He used Excel every day in his business. So in Excel, so finally I sat down with him one day and I said, okay, just show me the basics of how to put this in and then how to add the column. I know, y'all, that's so basic. But we all have to start somewhere, and it's the same way, whatever area it is, you have to start somewhere. So in Excel, and he showed me that. And so then he tried to go about 3 or 4, so I said, honey, that's all I want for today. This is, just let me do, because I was working on a project, and I just wanted to get this project done and learn that. Well then, you know, I figured a lot of it out on my own, and then a year or 2 later, I said, okay, now, is there a way to take this column and the answer to this column, put it over on this one? So then I could start there. It's like, oh my gosh, that was the coolest trick I ever learned. I thought, oh my gosh. Now, I could have gone to a class on Excel, and probably would be a good idea, but I've managed to get it and to learn it. And so now I feel pretty confident with, I'm not an expert by any means, but I can get around Excel pretty well. So it depends on the things, whatever it is that, you know, that holds you back. You know, if you just don't get some of the computer stuff, maybe you need to hire someone to help you. If you don't really understand marketing, that's why all of us are out here to share. Because think about this, y'all. Our Fun Fearless Female group is reaching across the country. You know, Elaine's out in California. I think that's so cool. And we've got several of the gals in Vegas. And here's a group of us right now, I'm here today, in Kansas City. We've got a couple gals from Texas. We've got somebody in Seattle. We've got someone out on the East Coast. I know we're represented in Atlanta. As we grow and as we surge, I'm going to put that out there because that's the whole point of Surge, is to bring us all together, to share our expertise. How can we lift each other up? How can we build up each other and all of us grow and learn together, right? So I want you to really think this week, and how are we doing on time? Oh my gosh, I'm like going over. I guess I got just overly excited this morning. I just so want the best for you. I want you to feel good about who you are. Who you are as a woman, who you are as a child of God, more importantly than anything. Because when you realize how amazing it is, how amazing you are, how beautiful you are as a child of God, stop beating up on yourself. Stop comparing yourself to others, because we all have growth that we can do. We all have areas where we can get better. And when you figure out the area that you do your worst, whatever area that you beat up on yourself the most, stop it. Okay, just like stop it now. Begin to replace that with positive things. Any of those areas that we talked about, when you begin to realize, okay, what's it going to take for you to change your mind? It's not anybody else's mind, but what's it going to take to change your mind about yourself? And then just start taking those steps, one little piece at a time. You know, in Mary Kay, we used to say you could eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So just start. All right, let me go back and see who I might have missed and say hello. And let's see here. Okay, I'm going to see here. Oh, Elaine, I taught at college level and spoke often at graduations in large crowds. One-on-one, I feel more insecure. That's really interesting because most people are the opposite. So yes, and there are some great tips, Elaine, that can help you with that. And you can send me a little message on there. Carol, every task has a beginning and an end, but the beginning is the start. Absolutely. You got to start, people. Just do it. Just do it, do it, do it. Okay. Deborah McGraw, good morning. And Bert, how are you? Sandy, I want to say hi to everybody. Let's see here. Carol said, I agree. I know who I am and can stand up in front of people. But it becomes difficult when reaching out to others. And Carol, I'm going to give you what I found is the single most simple thing when you're first walking in a crowd of meeting people. If you look for something good in whoever you're going to talk to, if you give them a compliment, if you notice something good about them, and this has to be sincere, I'm not saying make up anything, and you say, oh, hi, good morning, what a great smile. By the way, have you been here long? Take the conversation off of you and put it on them, and all of a sudden it makes it a whole lot easier. You ask questions about where are they from, what do they do? What do they do is like, so I don't really do that one. How long have you lived in town? Have you been coming to this meeting for a long time? Or tell me about yourself. Do you work outside the home? Find questions, pick out 5 questions that you feel comfortable to ask someone else, not deep delving kind of things, but just easy. Where do you get your hair done or something like that, right? That as soon as you take the attention off of yourself, because what makes us most of the time uncomfortable is thinking about, what are they going to think about me? Am I going to fit in? I so admire people who come to our gatherings, our meetings for the first time, because that's hard. It's hard to get out of your comfort zone and walk in where you don't know anybody. So as soon as you talk to one person and you can take that conversation and ask questions about them, it immediately takes the pressure off of you. So that's your one little tip on the networking thing for the couple of y'all that are struggling with that. All right, I'm going back, make sure that I've said hi to everybody. All right, you guys, I love you. Thank you so much for sharing your morning with me. I so appreciate it. Your time is the most valuable commodity you have, and I so appreciate that you share it right here on Tuesday mornings. I always like to close and remind you that not destiny, it is true destiny, but life is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. Choose wisely. Go out, make it a fabulous week. And for goodness sake, make a difference as you go. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.